So if Group A has 10 million views and Group B has 5 million views, then it's obvious that Group A is more popular, right? Well, not necessarily, and here's why. Now, if you've been in the K-pop scene for just a little bit of time, you know that K-pop fans are all about the numbers. They're about sales numbers, music video views, number of awards won by a group, and so forth. So it's safe to say that your average K-pop fan does like their numbers. They're obsessed with them. And that's not a bad thing because numbers on its own are facts. Now, K-pop casuals and non-K-pop fans might wonder, why are K-pop fans so obsessed with numbers? If you take this to like American music, if you're like a Beyonce fan or a Bruno Mars fan or a Justin Timberlake fan, these fans don't know how much they've sold or the music video views. Very few people in the West care about numbers the way that K-pop fans do. And that's because keeping track of numbers is really a K-pop culture thing. Now, one big reason why K-pop fans keep track of numbers is because K-pop labels push that, actually. So in K-pop land, there's a lot of groups that are competing for attention every week on shows like Inkigayo, Music Bank, various other TV shows, and concerts. So K-pop fans go to sites like Melon, Gaon, Billboard, MTV, and other music charts to pump up their favorite artists. And from the numbers, they determine a winner. So you can see that in K-pop, the battleground revolves around numbers. Now again, as I said earlier, numbers on their own are facts. However, it's how a lot of K-pop fans misinterpret numbers. And I think that's a big problem that I see a lot within the K-pop fandom. So when I hear blanket statements such as Group A has 20 million views on a video and Group B has 10 million views on their latest music video, Group A is more popular. And again, that's not always true because using numbers alone, whether it's music video views or sales or another metric, isn't enough. You have to take into the context of that number and how it was established. And then from there, you can determine who is a more popular group. And if you're watching this channel, that it's all about becoming a smarter K-pop fan to read beyond just what's shown on the surface. So let's dive in a bit deeper to see what these music video views mean and why you shouldn't just take a number at face value. So for the majority of this video, we're going to talk about music video views and how you can relate that to other metrics that are being misread, such as sales numbers. So the first one is that a music video view in 2019 isn't the same as it was a decade ago, back in 2009. So to give you a basic example, it's like this. So here is a US $1. You can't really buy too much with this $1 bill. So back a decade ago, this $1 bill was worth 30 times more. And that's because with money, there's inflation. And as there's more inflation today, a dollar bill in 2019 is worth less than it was in the 1900s. Well, I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, and that's K-pop inflation. And with K-pop inflation, it's the same thing. So back in 2009, a music video view was worth a lot more than it is today. And to give you a K-pop example, the former benchmark a decade ago, back in 2009, was if a K-pop group got over 1 million views, this big 7-digit mark. And I know some of you newer K-pop fans are kind of like, 1 million? That's nothing. But back in 2009, that was a huge deal. And one of the first K-pop groups to do that, to break that 1 million mark, was Girls' Generation and their song G. Back in 2009, it was lauded as a huge deal because K-pop was just taking off a decade ago and Girls' Generation was the next new thing. The 7-digit mark on YouTube a decade ago was a huge milestone, a milestone that showed that a group was popular. But if you fast forward a decade later into 2019, 1 million views is not that much. It's crazy to say this, but the new standard for a popular K-pop group is around 10 million views, with the mega groups getting 50 million or even 100 million or more views on a music video. The new standard, if a K-pop group is trendy or popular, keeps rising. And the reason why is because YouTube is becoming more popular every year. So speaking of YouTube, this video platform really changed K-pop. Back in 2005, when YouTube was first created, it was a platform to share cat videos or vlogging or showing family moments. It was more of a chill platform back then. But then as the platform evolved, a lot of companies started taking it more seriously, and that includes K-pop labels. And when SM Entertainment released, again, G back in 2009, it showed that YouTube was a major force in expanding K-pop. 2009 would also mark when HD was the new standard, where 720p and 1080p were the new video formats of choice. And G would be one of the first videos to use a 1080p format, ushering a new age of K-pop. Yet despite YouTube's popularity even 10 years ago, it's nowhere near where it is today. Now another player is social media and how that also exploded K-pop. Or with a simple retweet on Twitter, a share on Facebook, or a share on Instagram, a video can go viral instantly. Or back then, MySpace. I do remember having a MySpace back then. Whew, those were the days. But you know, just 20 years ago, back in the year 1999, social media didn't even exist. I know, a world without social media back then. It's a crazy time we live in today. MySpace came out in 2003, Facebook came out the following year in 2004, Twitter came out in 2006, and Instagram came out in 2010. Like YouTube, the benchmark for influencer status keeps getting higher. So say you opened a Twitter account back in 2006 and you have maybe like 100 or 200 followers. That was a decent amount back then. But today, the standard benchmark for becoming an influencer or a lot of people is probably 10,000 or more. Back in 2009, there was about 125 million YouTube users. As for social media, back in 2009, there was about 150 million Facebook users, 4.5 million Twitter users, and 76 million MySpace users, which isn't really a major thing anymore unless you're into music. And Instagram wasn't even a thing back then. Now we'll say a fraction of those fans are K-pop fans, which is still a lot of people. Taking this to 2019, there's about 1.3 billion YouTube users and 2.77 billion social media users. And this is due to what I call the multiplier effect, where there's a lot more people today that can promote your video using YouTube and social media, which creates this viral explosion of that video where it gets shot up into a lot of people's recommendation lists, which is why you'll probably see a lot of those viral videos in your recommendation feed as well. Which leads to my next point, different eras. And this is where the numbers get kind of murky. According to the Korea Institute today, in 2019, there's about 90 million K-pop fans around the world. And that doesn't include casuals. That just includes people that say, yes, I go to K-pop concerts and I buy merch. So when you compare a video from the 2009 era of Girls' Generation's G to today in 2017 to 2019 and 2020, there's no comparison because a mega group today is enjoying all the fruits and labors of social media, YouTube, Twitch, and a lot more mediums where they can get their music promoted. Finding a K-pop video today as an international fan is a lot easier than it was in the past. I remember before YouTube, to listen to K-pop, or if you wanted to watch like a past recording of a K-pop concert, you'd have to ship a VHS tape from Korea to wherever you live. So thank God for the internet, social media, and YouTube. But some might ask, wait, don't older videos have more views because they've been around for a decade? Well, that is a good question. The answer is still no. And here's why. The YouTube algorithm. And how this works is basically a video in its first 24 to 48 hours gets the most views. So if a video has a lot of traction through social media shares and a lot of word of mouth and a lot of people, then yes, you're gonna see those videos on your recommendation feed. Those videos are gonna be highly promoted by YouTube, and in turn is gonna get a lot more views. So while a 10-year video might pick up a couple thousand views here and there, a new video by a hot K-pop group is gonna get at least 10 million, if not more views, easily within the first 24 to 48 hours. And continuing on about reminiscing a decade earlier is that videos get re-uploaded. For instance, G, and it feels like I have this love affair with the song, it is a good song though, was released back in January 2009. But SM Entertainment, I guess they had a new channel, re-uploaded that song 6 months later to June 2009. So any views that they got in January 2009 to June was lost. And with the current times today, if a music video is on multiple platforms, say 1K, because 1K is a huge music distributor in Korea and they are known to promote lesser known artists, and in current times today, if you have your music video on, say, multiple YouTube channels to get more promotion, a lot of charts add the totals from all those YouTube channels, as opposed to just one. So now that we talked about the major arguments why you can't take numbers on its own seriously, we're just gonna take a lot of these arguments that we just learned about and talk about sales. And if you know, K-pop fans love their sales as well. So one example is Twice, JYP's golden darlings of the label. And they recently became the highest selling JYP artist, overtaking G.O.D. But if you look past the sales numbers, we can see a little bit of a different story. God came out back in 1999 during the very first generation of K-pop idols. And this is long before social media 2 decades ago, or even YouTube. So their videos were shown largely inside Korea and parts of Asia. Twice, on the other hand, had a lot of advantages, starting with, yes, social media and YouTube. And of course, K-pop making inroads in the West. So Twice had a lot of advantages 20 years later that his JYP cousins God didn't. BTS is another example, becoming the highest grossing K-pop group of all time in K-pop history. And that is, of course, hugely impressive. Now, BTS is a force that we haven't seen in K-pop internationally since Gangnam Style back in 2012. And a big reason why BTS exploded is because of the BTS fandom, also known as ARMY, which utilized social media, YouTube comments, and of course, sharing BTS videos any chance they got. But without the latest technologies such as social media and YouTube, which allowed the ARMY to share BTS videos and make them instantly viral, BTS wouldn't have achieved the same success. And again, this is not to knock Twice or BTS, it's just to show the importance of how social media and YouTube play such a big part in K-pop and how the multiplier effect can just make a video explode right away. So music video views and sales numbers and other numbers really have to be judged based on their era. And one last thing, let's talk about non-number metrics. Some of this might be anecdotal evidence why a group is popular. And one example that I like to bring up is back in 2012, 2013, when I was living in Seoul, BAP was one of the biggest boy groups at that time. And I say this to the very, very new generation of K-pop fans that got into K-pop maybe like 2016 and beyond, that BAP at one point were destined to become the next EXO. And EXO, as you know, is huge, but unfortunately, because of reasons, BAP didn't hit that same apex that EXO and later BTS did. Another group that I lived through was the EXO craze, especially in 2013 when they had the song Growl. And EXO is still popular to this day, especially in Asia, but a lot of very new fans of K-pop don't know how popular EXO was, especially since BTS mania is taking over a lot of the K-pop fandoms in the West. So with this, it's really, you had to be there or know some friends that witnessed those events. And these aren't number metrics because it shows an eyewitness account with detail, how and why that group was popular at that time. So again, numbers are important and are facts. And I'm impressed that K-pop fans constantly keep up with the numbers because they want to know the raw data. From watching this video, I hope you're a bit more skeptical, that you just don't take numbers at face value, that you dig a bit deeper to see how those numbers were obtained and what does it mean. So thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd love to know your comments in the comments below. And of course, if you guys want real talk on K-pop and to become a smarter K-pop fan, then download my free ebook in the section below. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy, guys.